Welcome to Age of Glory, the podcast where we uncover the battles that shaped history. Today, we're turning our attention to the root causes that ignited the American Civil War, a devastating conflict that began in 1861 when 11 southern states broke away from the Union. Can you walk us through the driving forces behind this secession?
Absolutely. At the core, the conflict was driven by heated debates over slavery, states' rights, and the preservation of the Union. The Southern states, believing their way of life was under threat, formed the Confederate States of America. This fundamental clash of ideology set the stage for a war that would redefine the nation.
By 1863, after 2 years of brutal fighting, the Confederacy had already celebrated several major victories, including the significant win at Chancellorsville. What strategic thinking led General Robert E. Lee to move his army north into Pennsylvania at this point in the war?
Lee aimed to relieve pressure on war-torn Virginia, secure much-needed supplies, and perhaps even force the Union to negotiate peace. The incursion into Pennsylvania was a bold gamble designed to shift the momentum and threaten northern cities. This maneuver ultimately led both armies to converge unexpectedly at Gettysburg.
Let's dive into the battle itself. July 1863 marked the explosive start of the Battle of Gettysburg. Confederate forces collided with Union cavalry just outside the town. How did the first day's action set the stage for the brutal fighting that followed?
On that first day, Lee's troops managed to push the Union soldiers through Gettysburg, forcing them onto the high ground at Cemetery Hill. This elevated position gave the Union a critical defensive advantage. Despite the initial Confederate success, Union forces under General George G. Meade quickly regrouped and fortified these positions.
The second day saw desperate attacks on both Union flanks, with legendary clashes at Little Round Top, Devil's Den, and the Peach Orchard. Can you elaborate on the significance of these engagements, particularly the 20th Maine stand at Little Round Top?
The fighting was incredibly fierce. The 20th Maine, led by Colonel Joshua Chamberlain, held off repeated assaults and executed a dramatic bayonet charge to secure Little Round Top. Their defense was pivotal. Had they broken, the entire Union left flank could have collapsed, possibly changing the outcome of the entire battle.
Moving to July 3rd, the battle's final day, General Lee made a fateful decision ordering what's now known as Pickett's Charge. What was the rationale behind this high-stakes assault, and what unfolded on that open field?
Lee believed that a concentrated attack on the Union center could break their lines and deliver a decisive victory. Around 12, Confederate soldiers advanced across open ground under devastating artillery fire. The result was catastrophic. Thousands were cut down, and the Confederate lines were shattered. The assault failed spectacularly, forcing Lee into a retreat.
What were the immediate consequences of this failure for the Confederate Army, and how did it affect the overall course of the war?
The defeat at Gettysburg marked the last time Lee would attempt an invasion of the North. The Confederacy suffered staggering losses, about one-third of Lee's army, and the momentum shifted firmly to the Union. From this point forward, the Confederates would be largely on the defensive, with diminishing resources and morale.
In the aftermath of Gettysburg, both sides suffered enormous casualties over 23, 0 Union, and 28, 0 Confederate soldiers. Yet the battle's significance went far beyond the numbers. How did Gettysburg alter the trajectory of the Civil War and shape the nation's future?
Gettysburg was the pivotal moment where the tide irrevocably turned in the Union's favor. It shattered the myth of Confederate invincibility and set the stage for a relentless Union advance. Just months later, President Lincoln delivered the Gettysburg Address, redefining the war's purpose as a struggle for a government of the people, by the people, for the people.
The legacy of Gettysburg endures today, not just as a symbol of sacrifice, but as a living lesson in leadership and military judgment. How is the battle remembered, and what does it continue to teach us about democracy and national resolve?
Gettysburg stands as a solemn reminder that democracy must often be defended at immense cost. It's a testament to both leadership and the collective will to endure. Today, the site draws countless visitors who seek to understand both the tragedy and the triumph that unfolded there. The lessons from Gettysburg remain deeply relevant to this day. Thank you for joining Age of Glory as we revisited the Battle of Gettysburg, a battle that decided not just the future of a war, but the future of a nation. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like and subscribe for more powerful stories from the past. Until next time, stay curious.